Hello everybody, and thank you for coming back to the channel and to this new video in which I'm going to try to fly the Hangar Rat. I've done some short trimming flights over the bed to prevent a lot of damage, and I found out that I need to move the center of gravity slightly forward because it was stalling, so I moved the wings a little bit back, and I've also reduced a little bit the incidence. I'm not sure if you can see, but I have here like 1 millimeter space here. I might put a sliver of balsa in there, but in any case it seems to be holding a little bit. I do have the feeling, I have tried a little bit of rubber powered on it, but I think the rubber doesn't have enough torque. It does turn the propeller, but very slowly, so not much torque. The good thing is that it is very light. Overall it's 10 grams now with this motor, but I have the feeling I'm going to have to change the motor. But I'm going to go and figure out how I can do some flights and let's see how it goes. Another point also I noticed, it turns left a little bit naturally even without the torque of the propeller, and I think it's because if you see this, and I'm not sure if it can be visible, the dihedral is a little bit crooked. The wing is a little bit crooked, so the right wing is a little bit higher, and that's what's probably causing a higher lift on that side, which makes it turn to the left. I've put a little bit of tape here to try to control it a little bit, and it's going to be a bit of trial and error, and let's see if I can get it to fly kind of straight indoors in a corridor in the cellar, and let's hope that the neighbors don't find me doing this, because it might be an embarrassing thing to explain why a grown-up is doing this. Anyhow, I'll show you the videos if I manage to capture something interesting. So that did not go well at all, did it? So I've broken the propeller, so I'm going to see if I can glue it back on with a super glue. And I was still stalling quite a lot, even if I have the feeling that there was more weight in the nose than normal. I might need to really fix the wing position, because even if it does hold kind of, maybe I need to put some tape or rubber band and see if it holds, and let's see if I find time to do more experiments. All part of the learning curve, right? So, I know it's difficult to see the airplane flying because it's transparent, but in one of the flights I did manage actually to get it to fly kind of okay. It was more like an assisted glide more than anything else. I think it was in the air for something like 3 to 4 seconds, and I managed to get it straight, which was good. But I feel that I miss either torque in the rubber or maybe a better propeller. So what I've got here, I went down to the hobby shop and I got some rubber. They gave me this rubber, they said it's good. I got 5 meters of the thing, so I'm going to try to create another motor. It might be too heavy, we'll see how I do it. I'll try to braid another motor, and let's see if I get a bit more torque, a bit more energy, and maybe a bit of more of a flight rather than a glide. So that will be the next task. I've now braided a new rubber motor. It's not perfect. I probably maybe should try to do it again. I'm not an expert in this, but that's kind of the point of this exercise, right? To try to learn how to do all these things. And I'm going to try to put it on, and then it'll be more test flights when possible. So wish me luck. So as you could see, I tried to fly here in the courtyard behind the house, hoping it would be a bit protected and a bit wider with no walls to bump into. It did fly. The first flight was like, the first and last flight actually was 4 seconds. I time it. That's one of the good things of recording things on video, to be able to see it. and then while I was winding it up to do the second flight, wind picked up, and not even in flight, it ripped off a wing basically. It just like bent it over. I was trying to protect it, but no way. I suppose this is the reason why it's called a Hangar Rat, and now it's back to the repair workshop. So anyhow, it's part about the learning. The good thing what I did learn, the rubber does have more power, which is better. I think I still need to improve on my braiding techniques, and it's a bit too thick or maybe too big because it bumps into the fuselage. But for sure, even if I just putting I think like 30-40 turns on it, it did have more power. I did feel it wasn't just like an assisted glide, but also a bit of a flight. So probably if I'd had a hanger, I would have managed to fly it a little bit more. So I don't think I'll make a video about building a hanger because I'm not going to do that. But let's see, I'll fix it, and maybe a day with no wind at all, I'll try it again. So
40 lines.
So I'm not sure how much of those flights you managed to see. I'm quite satisfied. I think I did a flight, I estimate based on the video, around 5 seconds flight, and it did manage to somehow hover in the air. I think I put in a maximum of maybe 80, maybe up to 100 turns. I kind of lost count. On the last flight you might have seen I broke the propeller again, so I'll try to fix it up and then go on with experiments and see how it goes. But I think it's getting better. With no wind, it seems to be, it holds itself up in the air for a few seconds, which is nice.
Around 50 turns. Around 100 turns. No idea how many turns. Nose heavy and propeller broken.
On the third flight, I only get like 2-3 flights each time. I broke the propeller again, still turning, a one-bladed propeller I might have invented. It broke again, like on I think another blade, so I can still glue it together probably. But I'm thinking of doing a new one because the mount is actually seems to be wearing out. So again, I don't think you can see this, but I might need to put in there some kind of a bead or something, a ball bearing, so that it's a bit separate from the fuselage. So it might be the time to take it off and upgrade it and then glue the propeller back on, or maybe even make a new propeller. I think I don't get beyond the 5-second flight, which is not bad, but I want a bit more. Let's say my aim is going to be with this one to get to 10 seconds, which I know that for a lot of you it sounds like a joke, but for me, if I get to 10 seconds, it'll be great. So I'll go on testing it and maybe recording it, and let's see how it goes. Did you see that? 9 seconds on the 27th attempt, more or less. So not the 10 seconds I was hoping for, but I'm very satisfied, and the plane is actually still in one piece. So I'm calling this a success, and I'll probably try to fly a little bit more. A bit of a debrief, if I may, a little bit of what I was doing now in this last session. It has taken me about 3 months since I started to test flight, and until now, because of the weather mostly. In the first flights you saw, the very short ones, the plane was pitching up a lot. Maybe it's because the propeller is lighter, maybe it's because of the center of gravity. I was trying to adjust it a lot with the landing gear. I put it now here at the back. It started here, but actually interfering with the landing, with the propeller. So maybe this plastic propeller is much lighter, and it actually did work. It's made out of pudding pots, like yogurt pots. It was idea from Cliff, and seems to have worked, and it didn't break in spite of all the crashing. So I think that's a very good idea to use the plastic propeller. I think the big change that I did was then the angle of incidence. Here I used to have it like up a little bit, like a millimeter up, and then because it was pitching always down at the end, then I decided to change the angle of incidence. I think one of the reasons would also be the fact that as the rubber was unwinding, maybe it was at the back, and then as it unwound, then the center of gravity would shift forward, and then that's why it was pitching down very much. I did it a couple of times, and then only when I changed the angle of incidence, it did those 2 long flights, let's say, pitched up even too much, but then also got a bit of a draft and did it. So as I say, a success from my perspective. I'm happy about it. Lessons learned about the whole thing, which is all about learning, right, is that first of all, rubber powered is hard. I would say that RC has its complications, but rubber powered is really hard. Just to get 9 seconds out of this, it's taken me a lot of effort, I mean, it's part of the fun, right? Like, I don't do things because they're easy, but because they're a challenge. But really, it's difficult. So for all those that you manage to get minutes and minutes on end of rubber powered flight, really, like, big respect for that. And if you haven't done it and you think it's easy when you watch those videos, I just challenge you to try it, because it's not easy at all. The key things is that there are a lot of different parameters: the propeller, the angle of incidence, the center of gravity, the rubber. Everything plays a role, and you have to adjust it to get to that level, which is not easy. It's a lot of trial and error, and this is then the learning platform that I've chosen for this. And as I was saying, it's a challenge. I don't do things because they're easy, and this one I'm very happy that it has survived, because I'll go on trying it until it becomes a total wreck and beyond repair, or until I find maybe build another one, a bigger one, a smaller one. I'll see what I do. But in any case, thank you everybody for following along on this adventure of mine, and for all your comments and encouragement, and I'll see you next time.